I'm going to be talking about the pricing for the mastermind, but also you can access that on NarayaniGuy.com. And then there's like a little thing that says mastermind. So I have all the prices public because I really just want to lay everything out, be authentic. The old marketing models of like withholding or any kind of like sales strategy is just so old paradigm. So at this point, again, laying everything out. So each week, the 3 elements in the calls will be one, thank you, Taylor. One is a little drop-in, either myself or Taylor leading a little drop-in, couple of minutes, get present. Some intention based on kind of what I sense in the field of what's going on. So where everyone's at, what have we been working with, what we've been sitting with. It might be about focus. There might be a lot of scattered energy. Maybe it's astrological or some global events, or just in the collective soul unfolding energy that's happening that we see in the sisterhood. So some kind of point of like, where are we at? How are people doing? Kind of check in, and then some micro coaching. So anybody needs immediate help, immediate support, really get a pulse on where everyone's at and what they want to do. And then there might be some advising, like make sure you check out this module or that module based on what it is that you need and what people are seeking. And then time for feedback. So if you have a specific project that you want feedback on, you want to be able to make a decision. In addition to my support, you'll have a chance to get feedback from the group. And if nobody has feedback, usually everyone has feedback because everyone's pretty psychic and intuitive and creative in our groups. And gifted and loving and compassionate and generous. And so you will have a chance to share anything you want feedback on. Again, you may be advised to make sure you go in and check the module. If you haven't been working with grounding, go make sure you check out the grounding video and play sheet. Not that you haven't grounded in your past, but it may be just the thing that you need right now. Or go do it on your own. If you don't want to go to the library, just do your grounding. Might be grounding, feeling self-love. You might not have been working with the collective integration of the energy fields. And again, I would send you to some practice, or we could talk about it in privates. Now, privates is an upgrade and an option that I'll talk about in a few minutes. And the third element of the call is going to be a micro co-working. So 15 minutes where we pause, put on some music, and you go work on something and then come back. I might choose to do the feedback element before and after on some calls where people then want feedback after they work on the thing. That leaves a lot of spaciousness. But we find that having that accountability is really, really helpful. And the other thing that I'm really excited to announce is that Taylor is going to be offering co-working as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Tay?
Yeah. So basically we'll start off the co-working session just by dropping in just to get present in the energy as it'll be throughout the day. So we just want to bring you in. We'll be talking about what we're working on for that session. So you can get support if you need with whatever you're working on in relation to your business. If you're doing social media stuff, if you want someone to look at a caption or a blog post, anything really, the time is really set aside intentionally for you to work on your business and be held in that vision and in that energy.
Mm-hmm.
We've done it in the past and it worked pretty well.
How about the timing?
Is it at a different time, or is it still
It's
Thursdays?
It's an additional, I'm just messaging Lauren. It's an additional, yeah, go ahead, Tay.
It's optional. So we were talking about Tuesdays. I'm open to the time depending on what works best for everybody. I was thinking mid to late afternoon EST. So around like 1-2 p.m. EST. If that doesn't feel good for the people joining, I'm open to shifting that. But Tuesday is the day that we've landed on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, thank you. As well, the size of this mastermind will be under 10 women. It's already 4 of us. And there's a whole bunch of people that are interested that we're talking with in the next week. And I'm excited of the manifestation of the 7 or more. That said, you know, we do have some people interested out of the US, Taylor. So we didn't talk about that. I have had that before. And so like I remember at some point we had someone in Austria, someone in South Africa. And so that does invite us all to stretch, you know. So we absolutely will find a time for co-working that feels most aligned. So there is some fluidity before we start. And that is all part, it's what's interesting and kind of fun is that becomes part of leadership training, right? Like, how do I stand for myself in authenticity, use my voice in a way that is aligned with my truth, honor the people that I'm with, and weave those different pieces together. So there's like a collective adulting that happens in these kind of situations. And that's the value of being in a small group. You don't have to fit in the box. You don't fit in a box. You wouldn't even give a flying toot about anything I had to say if you were an in the box person, because I've never, it's no, just no, just so that is the basic timing. We meet Thursdays at 12 noon EST for the weekly mastermind call. That is gonna stay. And unless somebody could enroll us all in that not staying, which would be interesting. But at that point, as far as I see, that's going to stay. I'm so hot flashy. I'm like in the 3rd month of my cleanse and I don't know what's going on with my liver, but I'm just like, whoa, it's so hot. It is 80 degrees. So whatever. Okay. So here are a couple of other things that I wanted to mention. Exactly. There are 4 elements to really being successful that I have seen in the 8 years and $50,000 I've spent on coaches. I'm just throwing that out there. I haven't done the actual math, but maybe it's close to like 35,000 or 40,000. Which is that the first is the way of being. And this is how I started. And this is how many of you have found yourself on a spiritual path of service and as women on the embodiment path, right? So it is always key to be able to have an agreement about what lens we're looking through. For example, I wouldn't be joining a Catholic church to get my spiritual needs met and then go complaining that like they're only just following Jesus. I mean, I joined the Catholic Church, so which I won't. But same thing if a woman, and I learned this from my midwife teacher, Wapio, like if a woman wants to have a natural birth and she goes to a hospital and they don't have a big history of supporting women in natural birth, and they expect them to cater everything to natural birth. Well, their expertise is not necessarily, it's not a birth center. They don't have a tub, right? Then you're going to an environment asking people to specialize in Western birth, in medical supported births to support you in your birth. You're not in the container that supports your envision. That said, one of my best friends is a nurse, labor delivery nurse, and she like is in San Diego in a hospital and she like loves natural birth. So there's angels everywhere. So, but the point is that you can get your needs met best when you're in an environment that supports the values that you are really standing for. And that's why I started focusing just on working with women, because I found, and Tay, you saw this over the years, we'd have one man in, one guy in, the one guy at our women's retreat, the one guy in our group, the other one guy in the other group. And the values were a little bit different, because as women, the sense of knowing and integrity really awakens when we can run the prayers through our body, and it's deeper as women, unless you happen to be a man who's like a deep cultivated spiritual practitioner, which I honor and appreciate. But still, the way women are designed to hold the energy of a container of the womb with our womb fields, we are designed to use our body to birth things, right? We are just designed that way. So that's why we turn this into a women's mastermind, to honor the energy of what women were coming for, so that our container was stronger and not leaky. And so this embodiment element is a theme that does run through everything that we do. And I want anyone to join to have a sense of embodied awareness, because we will ask you to track into how things are feeling. We will invite you to make sure that you are running energy that is in alignment with your higher self. And if you need help in doing that, there's trainings for that to give you a shift in perspective. Taylor, anything you want to say about that? No? Okay. I misread that one. Sometimes I look at Taylor and she's has like a little thing happening. She was somewhere else. Okay. Okay. So the embodiment work is key. And that is the beingness. That is the first of the 4 pieces that really helps people be successful. And that's helped me continue to really stay at it with this work for the last 9 years. This is my 9th year. That's just cool. That's a completion year of doing this work. Well, at 2014, I started. Yeah, 2015, I started taking people through. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 8th year. Next year is my 9th year. Okay. And that is the beingness, right? And everybody knows this as people on the transformational path. So that is the work of the beingness. How are you being, right? How are you being? Are you being in the old story? Are you 6 years old? And if you're 6 years old, it's okay. Maybe that 6-year-old needs to be listened to, and the medicine needs to be discovered through going through, right? Through the needs and feelings that maybe weren't felt and acknowledged in the past. Bada bada boom, bada bada bing. So the beingness. The second one is commitment. If I wasn't committed, I would not be sitting here doing this. I don't even know how many launches I've done in the last 9 years. Since 2015 was my first program that I took people through. No, 2013 actually. Okay, sorry. I'll figure out my own numbers later. Because anyway, it's been a second. So it's hard. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's difficult. And that requires commitment. I've already made that vow that I'm here to do my Dharma. I discovered it 25 years ago, that I was here to be a healer, that I am a healer. And that is my job, to support healing in however I can. And so I'm here. That's it. Commitment, right? We ask people to commit. We ask people to commit to themselves and their vision, knowing that your vision could change. The form can change. But we ask you, when you come into the mastermind, to commit this round for 7 months. So September, October, November, December, January, February 9th. We start on the new moon of this month. And so it's also Rosh Hashanah, which is interesting. So we will go until February 9th. And I do my business by the moon. And I know that in the beginning, we're setting a lot of prayer and clearing, and we're just kind of getting going. And then we grow with the light. So we'll already have past Yom Kippur, which for those of you who are Jewish is the Jewish New Year. So by the time we get to the full moon, by the time it's fall equinox, we'll already be like, Mercury will have been direct. So I look at all that in planning business, because it helps. All the support I can get, I'll take. So commitment is important, and to know what you're committed to. We always ask that people set their intention really clearly, so they can commit to their intention. The next element of those 4 things that I find create success is plan. So good old planning. Plan. Making sure that you are making a plan, and we get into that within the first few weeks. What I'm offering as a bonus for people who sign up for the mastermind this week is a free 2-hour planning visioning with me. So if you don't get privates and you just join monthly and you don't get extra sessions in advance, you can always add them with me or add them with Taylor. But if you plan and you get them with me, you actually get a 2-for-1 deal. So the Mastermind is $555 a month. And if you get privates with me, it's $777 a month and you get 2. But if you add on later privates with me, it will be $222 per session for people in the Mastermind. So you're actually getting 2-for-1. Basically, you're getting a $999 a month deal for $777. And then Taylor will also be available for privates at the rate that she's charging, which is a little bit lower because she's my mentee, but she's very, very gifted and powerful and successful. Okay, so the third element is planning. Plan. Planning could be really, I don't know, it's that yang element. It could be like fun, but we do our best to make it fun. You know, light your candles, get your chocolate, say your prayer, put on your favorite lists, you know, music, whatever. So planning is important. And then acting is the fourth piece. So are you taking action? And each action is going to be unique based on what's alive for you, where you're at in your cycle, where you're at in the cycles of your business, the cycles of your life, and where you're at in relationship to growth with your outer goals as well. So it's a lot of alchemy to be creating your own path of service. It's so different than what our grandmothers did. Our grandmothers didn't individualize the way we did. They didn't have the means. My grandmother, when she was born, she couldn't even vote. Like women couldn't vote. Like what? Couldn't even vote. Like that's how much our voices didn't matter, right? My mom is a first wave feminist. Hi, Mom. I think she may be watching on Facebook or not. But she won Woman of the Year in the 70s in her suburban town for National Organization for Women because they were fighting for the Equal Rights Amendment. I feel emotional. Whoa. But it's like that. It's like, wow. Like women still don't get equal pay. I just started getting deeper into that last week. Like we don't get equal pay in the world for the same work or even better work. So I think this is this fire that we feel to share our dharma, to do our dharma and share our gifts is really, it's important to remember that we're standing on the shoulders of women who have come before us. And we're evolving what's possible for ourselves and for our daughters and nieces and you know, future generations. That's my why. That's why I do this. Okay, last piece. Okay, so who this is for? So this is for women who have a business, the second last piece, who have a business or want to be in business, and for women who are on the spiritual path. You don't have to be a healer. Like I was using that wordage for a while, like people, I was working with practitioners, but there's a lot more women that are doing all kinds of dance and creativity and art or jewelry and like all these ways that the goddess wants to express herself through us. So I more of me letting go of control and being open to serving as many women that were mine to serve. And so in that way, it's open to all women who are on the spiritual path from any culture and tradition, but are open to universal teachings of embodying divine love, and who are wanting to support in doing their dharma and know the value of having a container that can support them in that. And if you have a business or don't have one yet, or you're restarting and rebirthing and shifting your vision, come on and play with us. We can't wait to support you and uplift you. We mentioned the financial piece. So there's 7 payments of $555. And if you pay in full, you get 10% off, which is exciting. And If you get private coaching with me, that includes either coaching, or I can do ancestral clearing for you 1 month, or one of your sessions a month, or 2 of them even. I could do essence work, which works on your field of your birth patterns. That's the ancestral clearing. I could do higher self channeling for you, or straight up we could do yang business, like let's mastermind and set a plan, or leadership coaching. So there's a lot of various things that we could do. Tay's sessions, she'll be talking about within the mastermind a little bit more, but she's very gifted. She's been working with a global coach for the last year, training with me and one of my assistants for the last 3 years, and is very, I've been laughing because I've been noticing since now that we're living in the same town and spending time with you, how you get in this like trance when you're getting a download. I'm like, okay, she has it. She just like looks, pierces through your soul and can see things beyond what anyone else in the room is seeing. So she's very gifted in holding that left and right hand path alongside you. Any questions that you have, you can post in the chat. If you're watching on the Facebook Live now or in the future now, you could post in the comments and I will get back to the Facebook later. Or you can literally apply. Taylor, will you take that apply link and put it in it's actually my page. It's not Awaken Life School. It's like my Narayani Gaia personal page. So I'm live in a video there. I already released the other one, and put the apply link down there. And that the apply it's a little bit of a formality. It's just for you to really get clear in your own head, like where you're at, and for us to have a documentation that you're interested. 99% of the people that apply are accepted. If I see somebody says, well, I really want to like start a McDonald's chain, I'd be like, not a fit, something like that might not feel congruent for me. Would definitely not feel congruent for me. I can't imagine anybody would say that, but I could be extremist. That's my pitta. Support tools, pretty much I feel like that is it for now. Thank you for those of you that hopped over here on Zoom. If you have any questions, send me an email or a private message. Again, if anybody who's watching this feels to enroll, is ready, if you enroll by Friday the 8th, I'm offering a bonus of a free 2-hour session with me. One other thing I want to say, follow your heart. Yeah, follow your heart. Follow your heart. I am committed to embodying complete trust that the right people always show up at the right time. So thank you. And you are free. You're free to make your own choice. We love you.